It was a cold evening, rain pattering softly against the glass doors of the Grand Crest Hotel, a place where luxury met pride and kindness rarely found a home. Daniel and Rosa had been traveling all day with their small daughter, Emma. The bus they were on broke down miles away, and they had walked until their shoes were soaked and their spirits exhausted. They just needed one night, one warm bed, before continuing to the countryside, where Daniel was promised a job at a local farm. Inside the golden-lit lobby, they looked out of place. Rosa held Emma close as the little girl shivered. Daniel approached the front desk where a tall man in a navy blue suit stood, the hotel manager, Mr. Grant. His polished smile was trained to fade when he saw poor guests. "Good evening, sir," Daniel said politely. "We'd like a small room for the night. Something affordable, please." Mr. Grant raised a brow, glancing at their wet shoes and the small bag Rosa held. "Affordable," he repeated, his voice dripping with mockery. "Sir, this is the Grand Crest. We don't exactly do cheap." Daniel swallowed hard. "Please, sir. My wife and daughter are cold. We can't travel any further tonight. Just one room, anything you have." The manager sighed theatrically, turning to his assistant. "We do have that cheap room near the back," he said loudly enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. "But I doubt they can afford even that." Some guests smirked. Others pretended not to hear. Rosa's eyes filled with tears, but Daniel straightened his back and nodded. "We'll take it," he said firmly. "Mr. Grant typed something into his computer and looked up. "That will be $60, he said, smirking. "Pay for the cheap room and leave." Daniel's trembling hands searched his wallet. "Only $42. He looked at Rosa helplessly. "Sir, we only have 42. I can leave my ID or my tools as a guarantee. I'll pay the rest tomorrow morning." But the manager's face hardened. "This isn't a charity. Pay in full or find somewhere else." At that moment, Emma coughed. A deep, tired cough that broke the silence. The old janitor sweeping the lobby stopped and looked over with pity. Rosa hugged her daughter tighter, whispering softly. "Sir, please," Daniel said, voice cracking. "We've been walking since morning. My daughter's not well. We'll leave early. Just help us tonight." The Mr. Grant crossed his arms. "Rules are rules. You people always have stories, don't you?" he said cruelly. "If you can't pay, then get out of my lobby." A tears welled in Rosa's eyes. Daniel bowed his head in shame. Just as they turned to leave, a voice came from the back, slow, steady, and commanding. "Hold on," said an old man with a straw hat and muddy boots, walking toward them. His clothes were simple, his face weathered, but his eyes were sharp with life and experience. He'd been sitting quietly in the corner, watching everything. "How much is the room?" the old man asked. $60, the manager replied curtly. Without a word, the farmer pulled out a worn leather wallet and counted 70. "Here's 70. The extra 10 is for the way you spoke to them." The lobby fell silent. Mr. Grant blinked, unsure how to respond. "Sir, that's unnecessary," Daniel began, but the old man raised a hand. "Son, I've slept under open skies and in cold barns. No one deserves to be turned away from warmth because of pride." He turned to the manager. "You wear that suit and stand behind this counter thinking you're better than the people you serve. But remember, this kindness is free. And one day, you might need it yourself." The room was still. Mr. Grant's face flushed red, but he said nothing. Rosa wiped her tears as the old farmer handed her the key. "Go on," he said softly. "Let your little one rest." That night, Daniel and Rosa tucked Emma into a warm bed for the first time in weeks. The rain fell outside, but inside their tiny, cheap room, there was peace, the kind that money can't buy. The next morning, Daniel went to thank the farmer but learned he'd already left. The clerk told him the old man was a regular guest who came to town once a month, always staying in the cheapest room, always quiet, always kind. Daniel felt something change in him that day, a promise to carry forward the same compassion that stranger had shown. Years passed. Daniel got the farm job, then managed the land, and later he owned it. His crops flourished, and so did his heart. He built a small inn near the farm for travelers, with a wooden sign out front that read, "Kindness is the best room in the house." One stormy evening, years later, a car broke down near Daniel's inn. A man in a worn suit stumbled in, drenched and trembling. Daniel looked up. It was Mr. Grant, the same manager who had mocked him all those years ago. Grant's eyes widened in recognition, shame washing over him. "You're Daniel," he stammered. "I didn't realize." Daniel smiled gently. "Doesn't matter," he said. "You look cold. Come in. I'll get you a room." The Grant hesitated, guilt in his eyes. I can't pay tonight. I lost my job a year ago." Daniel handed him a key and said softly, "Then pay with gratitude." "That's enough." The old man looked at him, speechless. For the first time he understood what it meant to be truly rich. As the fire crackled and rain fell outside, Grant whispered, "I mocked you once." Daniel nodded. "And someone else showed me mercy when you didn't. I'm just passing it on. Sometimes life brings us full circle, not to remind us of pain, but to show how far we've come." The poor couple, once mocked for asking for a cheap room, became the people who built a place where no one was ever turned away. Because in the end, kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it can change everything. And that's the story of how a single act of compassion turned a moment of humiliation into a lifetime of hope. If this touched your heart, remember, the smallest kindness can become someone's greatest miracle.